Anita, writer over at LourdesAnita.com, and you're watching the Purpose Talks with Lourdes Anita, where we talk about focusing on our God-given purposes and eliminating distractions that try to get in the way. And you guys, we are on episode 5, and we're rolling along. And I'm here with my new guest, one of my dear, dear sisters in Christ, really good friend, just all around awesome woman of God, Leslie Lissaint. She is an actress, a fitness instructor, a personal trainer, just a powerhouse in the kingdom. She's so many things, and she is also someone who really, really cares about women living in their purpose, walking in it, and being focused. So we're going to talk to her and try to get some tips from her on how we can do that. Okay? Hi, Leslie.
Hi, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Welcome.
That's special.
And we're also in her beautiful apartment, like just, living our bougie dream.
Oh, God. Let me tell you. It started from the bottom. Now we
are here, and we are in a beautiful space, and it is just wonderful. But for everyone who doesn't have the pleasure of knowing you, tell us some things about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Leslie Lissaint, originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've lived in New York for over 7 years. Trying to think, what about me? Grew up always involved, always in activity. So my mom was driving me to dance class, then it became acting classes, then it was sports. So I was always very active. Always took a liking to writing. I was really good at I was always journaling. I always had a dear diary, So writing was always part of my life since I was a kid. I always loved to travel. There was something about seeing the world. I always felt like a global citizen. I never felt like I'm just from Minnesota and that's all. I always felt when I was in 8th grade, I got a passport and I went to Germany, so I always felt connected, I went to college at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I majored in Portuguese and Latin American studies, which again is such a seed that was planted in high school. I had a teacher who took a group of us to Brazil, and that literally changed my life. I wanted to learn the language, wanted to learn about the people. And then during college, I was very much groomed to be a professor. I thought I was going to be going to grad school, becoming a professor. And I just remember so clear, I was in Portugal. God was like, go back to acting. And I was like, be obedient, Leslie. I'm going to get this degree. I ain't going back, I finished. And then just, went to an acting conservatory and trained. I've always been very proactive, never stagnant. And I think as I'm getting older, I'm learning it's not about being stagnant, it's about stillness of the Lord. So I think there was a learning of you going, and then there's it's okay to rest. I think we live in this hustle hard, don't go to sleep.
I'm gonna sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, and it's but your body needs rest. God created you to rest. He actually had a Sabbath, and so that's something particularly in these past couple of years I've been really learning. Yo, you need to sit. And it's okay.
Yeah, amen. But you're learning to sit.
I'm learning to sit.
You do a lot.
I've been embracing it a little more. I've been embracing it.
You do a lot. Let's just be honest. You do a lot. And you've done a one-woman show.
Yes.
You have, taken retreats.
Yes.
Internationally to talk about traveling.
Yes.
You've hosted purpose retreats. You've hosted, women's wellness events. With all of the things that you do and all of the gifts that God has given you, what do you feel is your purpose?
Yeah, so I feel God has given me a purpose of connecting people. So whether that's being a bridge between people and connecting them, reaching out to someone and bringing them in, and then also in that connection, there's this vulnerability that happens. Whether it's me telling a story, them telling me. So I've come across people who've never met me who are vulnerable. And it's that's a gift to hold space for someone to be themselves. And then in those spaces, I feel God has been it doesn't have to be a one-on-one. You could do it in a group setting. So that kind of came out of the purpose retreats. And even in fitness, fitness journeys are intimate. To ask someone about their goals and why and what do you eat and why do you eat that. It's a very intimate journey. So I think God has given me the heart to be intimate with people and has also helped me in my own journey of healing, help others in their healing process of what that looks like. And I don't mean you sick and now you healed, but I mean things in your past that you might not be talking about. I'm talking about spiritual strongholds that you might have. So I think God has allowed me to connect with people, either individually in groups. I feel purpose in that, as well as the healing part, and how that looks has been theatrical, like with the arts, as well as fitness. So I feel like I know I do a lot, but it has been all connected. And I feel like God has really allowed me in different seasons to do different things. Now, internally, I'm like, I want to do, my way. I want to be on the stage all the time, da-da-da-da. And God's like, but I want you on this stage in the gym. Yeah. I want you on this stage in a retreat. I want you on this stage, which looks like, that one-on-one time. So I feel like it's very much people related. Yeah. And then as far as the healing, there's something about that storytelling. I've always been a writer, staying up all night, reading books, telling stories, acting them out for my mom. And it's something that I never thought it could take me places. Yeah. I thought it was just like a hobby. Yeah. And I think it wasn't till I started seeing people do it, especially living in New York. Like, there are people who actually do acting for their life, full time. Like, you make money. It's bizarre to me. Like, in Minnesota, where I'm from, it's like, nobody's doing that. Yeah. So I'm very much an anomaly. Like, a girl from Minnesota who's pursuing the arts, or fitness, what's that? Yeah. So I definitely feel that God has purposed me to telling specific stories about about vulnerabilities, about how do you be vulnerable with this character? How do you display vulnerability in a powerful way? Yeah. Because I truly believe being vulnerable is a power.
Amen. So how did you talk a lot about healing and vulnerability and intimacy? What do you feel like you had to heal from, and how did you go through that process of healing so that you could be vulnerable and intimate with other people? Because that doesn't come.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the healing started when I got saved.
Yeah, come on, Jesus.
Yes, shout out to God. No, that's so real, because I was So, there was, I think it was in high school. I think it had to be around when I was 16, when I had a car and license and stuff. But my grandfather passed away, and that was the big, death in our family. As well as I had a couple friends that were my age who had passed. One got shot, different things like that. And I remember all these feelings, going to the funeral. And I went to church, know how to do church, but I didn't know about relationship. Yeah. And so I felt like during this season of death being around me, I was seeking the Lord. And I'll never forget this. I was determined I'm going to drive my car until I find a church, then I'll stay. I was just going to find a church. Yeah. And I remember going to the church and just feeling so moved to tears. That was my first time, a Holy Spirit encounter, going up to the altar call. But in that moment, I felt loved and reassured that my life mattered, that God kept me and has me. Yeah. So it's healing from this brokenness that I felt was happening in death. Yeah. But the realization eternal death with God. There's no death. It's eternal life with Him. And I think being kept by the Lord, even in the chaos and trauma experiences that I've had, it's how did God still hold me down? Yeah. I felt growing up, my father was in and out of jail, and, my mother was battling a drug addiction problem. And I felt even in those tears when I was crying in my bed and wondering, about my mom or my dad, God kept me. Amen. And I think there was a lot of years of not being able to talk about that. And so in the process of creating my show, that's where a lot of the healing and the rediscoveries and also just the power came from. To tell a secret out loud is powerful. Nobody owns it. And it literally, before, it felt like a weight on me. And it felt when I shared it, it was release. Yeah. And then it was just thinking about how many other things can we be released from feeling ugly, from feeling fat, from feeling not enough. How do you release that? And so the process of the show has definitely helped me heal from those things, has definitely allowed me to grow in different ways. So I felt that show opened so many doors in my life. Not opportunities, you get to do all these things, but now you can talk about this. Now you can be in her life. Now you can heal. You know what I mean? So I felt like I would call it the heart work. There was a lot of heart work to be done. And that's the hard part. That's the crying, the snot, that's the staying up all night. That's the dear God, in your journal.
Right.
That's the girl, come over, let me cry on your shoulder. Girl, I got to tell you this. That's also the therapy work. Get your therapy.
Jesus and therapy.
Yes, both and. So yeah, that's when I started doing therapy. And you just get open.
Yeah.
But in that openness, God is protecting you. Yeah. Because you don't want to be open out here and
you don't want to tell everybody everything.
So discernment. Like learning discernment, and also just seeing other people with strongholds and wanting them to be free. Mm-hmm. Knowing that like you can have this freedom, right? Like you don't have to play it small. Mm-hmm. And I always think about that Marianne Williams quote. Our deepest fear is not our light. And no, our deepest fear is not our darkness. Our deepest fear is our light, And I think about that constantly. Like, God is light, mm-hmm. And how can I be operating in that? Yeah. At a high capacity and still, like, that's where the rest comes from, because you can't just be light all day, right. And, not recharged.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah. So, like, from what I'm hearing, it's like you got healed by telling your story.
Yes.
Whether that is sharing it with God, like being honest and open with Him, mm-hmm. being honest and open with your community, and being honest and open with the world. And like, whether in your play or in your journaling, like you got healed. Telling your story.
And it's a journey. Yeah. Like healed period.
Right.
It's like healed, comma, healed, ... healing.
Right.
Continuous. Yeah.
Amen. Like for people who aren't telling their story, do you feel like shame is a distraction that keeps people back? Is it something that you struggle with?
Yeah, definitely shame. I think struggling with fear. Fear is big. When you, it's, I think what I had to learn, and when I think about the mentors and the people that I talk to, they still have fear. Yeah. They just choose God. Amen. Or they, choose to follow Him more. They choose action versus inaction. Because I think fear can be paralyzing. And that's kind of, the fear for me was, in my throat, couldn't talk, dealing with a lot of anxiety. And so, I think shame is very common. I think fear is common. I think just, comparison, being worried. Judgment, mm-hmm. being worried about judge, will you look at me differently? Those are, I have a line in my show, will you judge me? Will you judge my mom? Really thinking about how you are perceived. And that's something that, can be a battle that, I can struggle with on different days and stuff like that. But I think I always come back with, who am I? Who has God called me? What is my identity? And it's in that rest. I've really been embracing that rest and reflection of, do I like who I am becoming? And what am I doing with what God has put in my hands? Yeah. And how can I remind myself that I belong to Him? Amen. Because when I do that, it's I can operate a little different. Yeah. There's an armor on me. I got that God on me.
If He before me, I mean, who can be against me? Really? Yes. So, it sounds for me like rest is your weapon.
It's a new weapon.
It's a new.
I ain't trying to be out here. I'm not. It's new.
It's that new. Rest is a new weapon.
It's a new.
Before. Is it one of the ways you combat these distractions?
Yes. For example, I will spend 1 hour in silence. You could close your eyes, you could pray, you can meditate, but just no sound, no music, just
no phone.
That has been, in the beginning, I was like, what is this going to do for me? I don't know, should I take a nap? And then it was after that hour rest, I felt the impacts of it. Days after, that Sunday, I felt it. I'm like, that Friday when I rested for an hour, I felt that. So it looks like that. Sometimes I can do a full day of Sabbath, which is just hanging out, me and the Lord, whether it's watching TV or eating food or chilling or reading my Bible. It's just a day of no plans. Yeah. Resting also looks like my morning praise and worship time. Amen. I try to just play the music and just be with the Lord. Really just spend time. Rest looks like sleeping. Sometimes I struggle with that. Getting enough hours, but honoring what I can get. Because if you can get 5 and not 8, at least you got the 5, you know? So, rest has been like definitely a lot of silence, and then like just getting really good quality time with the Lord, which, you know, be looking like 2 hours sometimes. I'm like, I had so many plans.
No.
And I was like, but child.
Yeah, come to me.
Yeah,
right?
so it's been like it's new. It's been a really good season of resting in Him, and it's something that I didn't value before. I thought if I'm stopping, then I'm not doing my purpose, which means I'm failing God.
Right.
I felt like if I was, you know, not hustling or working hard, then I'm missing out.
Yeah.
So there was a constant battle of feeling like I'm not doing enough to succeed. I'm not doing enough to make God proud. I'm not doing enough, like with what He's giving me. Like I'm wasting time, or I felt like, you know, I got to be doing more. I got to be doing more. And I think that was just a lie of the enemy.
Definitely. I think this hustle culture, like, it attacks everybody,
Yeah.
especially, you know, as millennials living in New York, living in urban spaces, and being on social media. There's this narrative like, yo, I gotta go. I hustle hard. And it's like, no, but sweetness, like their rest is a commandment. Like, it's not, you're not being just, well, if you do resting too much and you're not actually resting, you are being lazy.
There's a lazy spirit.
There is a lazy spirit. We're not talking about that. We're talking about like when you purposely put things down and hand your life back over to God and say, God, like, you have created me, you've made me, and you've also commanded me to rest. Like,
it's definitely like reminding ourselves, like, being a Christian means to be standing apart. So we should be looking different than the culture.
Yes.
So if the culture is telling you hustle, you should be counterculture and not be about that.
Amen.
You know? And so I think it's a like reminder, like, we're set apart. My life should look different from yours.
Yes.
Because I'm saved by Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? And like, I think like that has really been like a reminder, like, am I looking like the world or am I looking like God?
Yeah.
You know, the world tells me hustle hard, don't go to sleep. What is God telling me?
Yeah.
Rest in me, peace in me. I am a God of not, you know, fear or anxiety. You know, so it's like, I think I'm constantly reminded with that.
Yeah, so even that, like, succumbing to that hustle culture, or you mentioned comparison, like trying to compare my journey to somebody else's, was like, that's what you might need to be doing, but I actually need to be resting in this season.
Yeah.
I might need to do less.
Yes.
This might be your season to do more. It might actually be my season to do less, and then allow the Lord to bring the increase.
That's
in
hard.
the way that He's, you know.
Oh, Lord! Comparison is so real, and Instagram doesn't help.
Instagram does not help.
Yeah, it's like a love-hate. It's like, oh, I'm meeting new people. Oh, I can promote a retreat and get people who I would never be able to reach that will come. But at the same time, it's like, just the other day, I was talking to my husband about Bali. Why I want to go to Bali? Do I know where it's at on the map? I do not. But I'm talking about it. Right. And my husband was like, but why?
Right.
Oh, Instagram put that idea in my head. I'm consuming it and I'm thinking about it. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like the more I'm on it, I'm thinking about people's lives I don't know. You know, so-and-so's baby just turned 1. Like, they are not checking for me. They're not checking for me. And I think it's a couple things. I've seen this quote. It says something about, I think it was by, I'm going blank. Maya Angelou. It said something to the fact of, like, if we're honest, when we leave this world, like, it will still go on.
You're right.
It was something around the ego. Like, if we're honest, if you let your ego go, like, you leaving, like, people will move forward.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like one of those big things of like you matter, but like in the kingdom, you are working for Him, and He matters more. So no, it was just like I was just thinking about like how we're trying to like be popular on Instagram and like make these connections and have these followers. Like it can get complicated, and I think it's just like this battle. Like so many beautiful things connecting with people, but then there's like comparison, and there's like, oh, you know, this girl's doing that. Maybe I should be doing that. So I think it's an easy distraction to get swayed away from your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I definitely think it feeds off of the fear and the comparison. And so like I've definitely use the screen time app on my phone, like trying to monitor that. And I definitely have to like be around people. I call them like my spiritual board or spiritual advisors. Like just being around people who know my spirit, being around people who know me and can remind me, Leslie, God called you to this. What you just asked me about my show. Let me remind you, we got a solo show.
Right.
This is how we hit. Like, how are you doing that? How are you operating that? Because it may not look like a full show, but it could look like a workshop. Yeah. It could look like one-on-one. And so, yeah, I think it's like the distractions that I face are constantly around trying to get me off my purpose or trying to distract me or trying to, get me to play it small. Like, you're too big, you're too loud. What you're doing, it doesn't matter. Like, someone else is doing it. Yeah. That's another. And it worked that way. Like, you're trying to do a retreat for women? Everybody's doing that. And I think it's that reminder, like, but God. Like, when God is in the equation, it looks different.
Yeah. And it's so hard because it's like, hearing the voice of God for yourself and knowing what he actually is calling you to do, or it's like, okay, wait, did I look at this girl's Instagram page and start coveting what she was doing? Or is God really telling me to do this?
This is your new ministry? Right. Or is that her ministry?
Right. Whose lane are you in? Whose page were you on that brought you to that place? Or just like knowing, like, no, like these are the gifts and the talents that God has given me. And this is how he wants me to use it.
Yeah, and that's, I think, like, real accountability, like, really being around people, your friends, like, your closest friends. Those are, like, that's the real. Like, that's your community, that's your family that can really help you with direction. You know what I mean? Because, like, yes, you can hear from God. Hearing comes by, by seeing, by being in the Word. But God speaks through people. So, like, you've got to have trusted people that know God that can speak into your life. And I think we have to learn to not only hear from our friends, but act on it. Yeah. I think, like, have a heart that's ready to move for the Lord in a way that's uncomfortable. Yeah. Like, prepare yourself, like, praying of, like, okay, God, I'm going to be asking my friends about what I should do next. Help me to do what they say. You know what I mean? Like, being obedient is hard. Yeah. And I think that's really important because, like, your friends, they see you in ways that you can't see yourself. Yeah.
And that's, I can attest that from this relationship, like, because we have sleepovers, we have our community, and you've been one of the people that has pushed me to write more and to use my gifts, and like, you need that. Like, I'm just, all the keys.
We need the encouragement. We need it.
We just need it. Like, and I'm hearing, just some of the tips I'm hearing is like, you need rest. Yes. You need time with the Lord. You need to be hearing from him. But you also need accountability. And you need people who know the Lord and who know you and can speak into your life.
Yeah, definitely. And, like, I always tell people, like, if you feel like you don't know your purpose, because, like, we're talking about purpose, which can feel, like, so far from you. I think one is the belief that you are purpose-filled. God has already given you a purpose, whether you're operating in it, whether you think you're doing it or not. Like, you have purpose. And I always tell people, like, write down those gifts and talents. Write down those things that come easy to you. Write down, what are you doing now? Like, what's actually in your hands? If you're a babysitter, like, that's a gift. Yeah. You know what I mean? And, like, what are you learning? How are they learning from you? You might have, like, a teaching spirit. You know what I mean? So it's, like, it doesn't have to be this, like, fancy title. It's about, like, what has God given you? And write down all those things. And then, like, I always tell people, like, out of all those things you write, pick 3 and pray on them. And try to pursue them in a different way. Amen. So if you're like, I'm babysitting, I'm with kids, I'm volunteering, in kids ministry, press in on that. Yeah. What family you might serve? How might the wife, or the mother pour into you in a certain way? Like, how might you volunteer? How might you, just, like, impact one child? Like, if you're like, I'm just going to, pursue this one child one-on-one, what that might look like, So I just always encourage people, like, think about your gifts and talents. Ask the people around you, hey, what am I good at? Why are you my friend? What are the qualities I have? Why are you hanging out with me? Because it's like a heart check. Like, where am I at? What am I doing? And I think we have to do those seasonally. Yeah. Because the purpose that God has on your life is clear, but how we operate it is different, right? There could be different seasons where you're in this way versus that way, but you're still like living out that purpose for God.
Yeah, I think there is like one singular thing that God calls you to do, but it looks different. Like there are different iterations of how you do that over time, where like if God calls you to be a teacher, you may work with kids, and then he might have you work with adults.
Right.
Or he might have you work at a beauty store, like you do a makeup counter, teaching people how to do makeup, or working at a fashion magazine. Like it is different. It's just like you have to be clear on that thing. Like God, he's made you an encourager, he's made you a teacher, and like you act that out different.
And you have to be okay with it. Yeah. I think that's a big thing too. It's like, I know God told me to be a teacher, but I want to be
child.
But I want to.
Why are you talking about my life?
And I think it's like we have to let go of who we think we are and hold on to who God has called us to be.
I feel personally attacked.
Yeah, that's hard. It's a battle. And she'd have like, God, remind me again.
I'm like, why am I here?
Remind me again. You want me to do what? Woo! With who?
Submission, child. Lord Jesus.
Yes. Learn now, because you're going to need it in marriage.
Oh, speak it on my life.
Yes,
God. But no, so one of the strategies you said was to write things down.
Yes.
Like, think about the top 3 and write them down.
Yes.
And you're creating a resource for that.
Yes, I am. It's in there.
Oh my goodness, you have a planner.
I do. I have a planner. Very excited.
So talk about this new project.
My planner is called the Greater Than Planner. God's plans are greater than. Leave that blank. Better than boom, boom, boom. Put it in the blank. And God's plans are greater than all those things.
Amen.
So I've always loved planners. I'm talking about gel pens, the markers, the pen. Like, I'm all about it.
Right.
Since like the beginning, you know. But like what I found is they're great, you know, cute, you know, stylish, but they miss God.
Right.
Like there's a lack. They may have like inspirational quotes or Bible verses, but like I don't. What you're asking me to write down my commitments and my dates, but God isn't in them. So in my Greater Than Planner, the beginning pages are all about gifts and talents and like your purpose and like where God has you, and I break everything up in quarters. So for this first quarter, what are you going to do with God? What God has put in your hands, right? And so really there's steps that are guiding you, and then you plug those into your calendar. And then I would say like there's a unique column that I've created that's about your spiritual, your personal, your professional, and your physical well-being, and how are you taking care of that on a monthly basis. The planner has monthly check-ins. So at the end of a month, there's a page of reflection, and then there's also a page of like preparation for the upcoming month. And then there's a weekly check-in, you know, how you doing? Do you like who you are? You know, different things like that for the week. Like what challenges did you face? So that you can like be aware and work on those things. And then there's end of the year questions. So it has everything that you want in the planner. Like like there's a great layout, like a big, like, you know, you got to see the whole month. Then there's like those weekly pages. And I do it by time. So it starts at 5 a.m., goes all the way down to 11:30, you know, because we got full days, you know. People catching flights at 5, you know. You got to get up. You know, sometimes there's like prayer calls at, you know, 4:30 and stuff. So I definitely wanted, because that was the thing. I would see planners that start at 6 or 7. I'm like, I'm up at 5 sometimes, you know. So I need a full day. Yeah. And then there's room on the bottom for space. Notes, ideas, dreams. There's like a Bible verse section where you can write down what is that memory verse you're working on. You know, there's a question about how are you spending time with God? What does that look like? So there's just always this check-in. You know, the planner is like a friend that's checking out. You know, they're asking you how you doing, how's your spirit, how's your finance. You know what I mean? Like the planner, if used, I would say if used. Let's keep it at that, because we all got planners we ain't used. But when used, it can be such a tool to remind you on a daily basis to keep God at the center.
Amen. Child, I need one. Like,
we gonna make sure you get one, girl. Yes.
Yeah, I need to organize.
Yeah, I want everyone to have one before Christmas.
Amen. So what's the release date? Like, when can we anticipate having this?
So everything will be set. You can register and order it on Thanksgiving.
Through Thanksgiving.
So Thanksgiving, we're going to be thankful that the Lord provides. And so there'll be links available for
Amen.
everyone to order theirs. And then once ordered, everyone is guaranteed to get it before Christmas.
Can you tell us the website?
It's just my name, www.leslielissaint.com, LESLIELISSAINT. Yeah, just in case, you know? Just in case.
Yes. But no, everyone head over to that website. Definitely check it out. I'm going to get my own personal one.
Greater than planner.
I need.
Have the Instagram. Greater than _planner. Amen. Follow us.
Yes. But so we've talked about so many things like healing, resting, focusing on your purpose, pushing the distractions aside, using your planner. Like, what advice would you give to the woman who is, maybe struggling with faith or struggling with healing, unsure of what God has placed inside of them? Maybe she doesn't know what her gifts are.
Yeah.
Like, what final advice would you leave with her?
I would say, like, spend time with God. I would say, and be aware of what that looks like. Free of distractions, free of a cell phone. I would say, like, ask God to reveal what your purpose is. And I would also ask God to bring you support. Because we're not supposed to do life by ourselves. So I would say praying for support in a person, community, and praying that you would have ears to hear what God wants to pour into you.
Mic drop.
Yo, I love you so much, girl.
I love you too, girl. So fun. Leslie, thank you so much for just dropping all the keys, all the wisdom. We are grateful for you, and we are going to check out that planner and get our lives together.
Be greater than.
God is greater than everything.
Yes.
But again, thank you for watching the Purpose Talks, and it is my prayer that you are focusing on your purpose, eliminating those distractions, and just being your very best you. See you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.